Now confirmed at Newcastle. Massive updates are shaking the club tonight, and fans won't believe what's just come out. 4 huge developments, one transfer chase that could reshape the defense, another signal from Eddie Howe before the January window, an incredible revelation about one of our most hard-working stars, and a shock Premier League battle for a rising English midfielder. The tension is building at St. James Park, and these stories are spreading like wildfire. Something major is happening behind the scenes, and supporters deserve to know the full truth. From new signings and tactical shifts to Eddie Howe's long-term vision, the Magpies are once again proving why they're one of the most ambitious clubs in England. Stay tuned until the end, and if you love Newcastle as much as we do, make sure to subscribe now so you never miss a breaking update from the Toon. Pierre Kalulu has become the center of attention for Newcastle United, and his name has been echoing loudly around the corridors of St. James Park. The 25-year-old French defender, now valued at around €30 million, has emerged as one of Eddie Howe's top transfer priorities. With injuries disrupting Newcastle's defensive balance once again, the manager knows reinforcements are essential. The constant absence of Sven Botman has forced changes almost every week, and that has cost the team its rhythm. Kalulu's intelligence, pace, and calmness on the ball could be exactly what Howe's system has been missing for months. At Juventus, Kalulu has transformed into one of Serie A's most dependable defenders. Under Thiago Motta's coaching, he developed not just technically but mentally, becoming a leader at the back. His ability to play both as a centre-back and as a right-back gives any manager tactical flexibility. Newcastle's approach, which begins with building from the back, fits perfectly with Kalulu's strengths: accurate passing, positional awareness, and composure under pressure. Howe's defensive structure relies on players who can think as well as tackle, and that's where Kalulu truly stands out. Every move he makes seems measured, disciplined, and purposeful. Tottenham Hotspur's interest complicates matters, with the North London side also keen to rebuild their defense. Spurs have the financial firepower to move quickly if they want to, and their recent push to reinforce under Ange Postecoglou shows ambition. Yet, Kalulu may find Newcastle's offer more appealing for footballing reasons. At the Toon, he would likely be a guaranteed starter, forming a long-term partnership with Botman, while at Tottenham, competition is fierce and rotation frequent. Howe's project, in contrast, is built on loyalty, structure, and long-term growth. The question is whether those values can outweigh the glamour and money of London life. Inside Newcastle, there is a growing sense that stability in defense must come before anything else. The team's offensive play has often been thrilling, but defensive lapses have cost vital points both in the Premier League and Europe. Kalulu could help turn that inconsistency into calm control. He's still young, but already battle-hardened from facing world-class forwards in Serie A. His reading of the game, combined with quick acceleration, allows him to cover space intelligently, something Howe values highly. It's not just about blocking shots, it's about anticipating danger before it happens, a skill that only the best defenders possess. Financially, the Magpies remain cautious because of the Premier League's PSR regulations. Despite the backing of the PIF, every major signing must be justified strategically. A €30 million outlay for Kalulu would be a statement of belief rather than a gamble. Howe's team needs not only squad depth but also quality at the highest level. Bringing in Kalulu would signal that Newcastle are not merely competing. They're planning to stay among England's elite. After the frustration of losing key defenders to injury, the idea of adding a reliable and versatile talent has generated genuine excitement among supporters. Beyond his footballing ability, Kalulu brings a personality that fits the culture Howe has built. He's known in Italy for his professionalism, humility, and relentless focus on improvement. Teammates describe him as someone who studies the game in detail, analyzing positioning and movement long after training sessions have ended. That mindset would resonate perfectly with Howe, who constantly praises players who stay behind to work on their craft. The Frenchman's quiet leadership and resilience could help steady a dressing room that's had to cope with constant injuries and lineup changes. For Kalulu himself, the move could be the ideal next step. He's already proved his quality in France and Italy, and a switch to the Premier League would test him against faster, more physical opposition. Newcastle's passionate fanbase and their upward trajectory would provide both motivation and challenge. Playing under Eddie Howe, a coach known for improving defenders, could help Kalulu reach new heights. He would not be arriving as just another signing. He would be part of a rebuilding mission aimed at turning Newcastle into genuine title contenders within the next few seasons. Meanwhile, Tottenham's pursuit adds a layer of urgency to Newcastle's efforts. Spurs can act quickly if they decide Kalulu fits their style, and London's appeal can't be ignored. But many insiders believe that the Frenchman values playing time and development over status. Howe's ability to offer both could be decisive. The Magpies are also monitoring Joel Ordóñez as a secondary target, showing that the club's focus on strengthening the defense is part of a broader, carefully designed plan rather than a last-minute reaction to injuries. If Newcastle succeed in securing Kalulu's signature, the potential partnership with Botman could define the club's future for years. Both players possess calmness, intelligence, and confidence in possession. With Kieran Trippier offering experience on one side and Dan Burn providing height and grit, the backline could regain its shape and reliability. This stability would not only protect Nick Pope but also allow the midfield, led by Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, to operate with greater freedom. Howe's vision has always been about balance, and Kalulu could be the missing link that finally brings it. Ultimately, the battle for Kalulu reflects Newcastle's new ambition. They're no longer satisfied with mid-table comfort or short-term fixes. Every signing now fits a clear long-term strategy built around youth, versatility, and commitment. The coming weeks will reveal whether Juventus are open to negotiation, and whether Kalulu is ready for the Premier League challenge. One thing is certain: if he chooses the black and white shirt, he won't just strengthen the defense, he'll embody the next chapter of Eddie Howe's evolving project, where every new player represents another step toward lasting success. Eddie Howe has once again shown why he's one of the smartest managers in the Premier League. With just a few months gone in the new season, he's already thinking about how to strengthen his Newcastle United side ahead of the January transfer window. Speaking recently, Howe dropped a subtle but important hint about the club's plans. Supporters, as always, are eager to know whether any fresh faces will arrive when the window opens. The message from Howe was clear: don't expect fireworks, but expect intelligent, well-planned moves that will keep the squad competitive in every competition. The first challenge for Howe this season has been depth. Injuries have hit hard, especially in the fullback positions. With Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall sidelined, Newcastle have relied heavily on Kieran Trippier and Dan Burn to cover both sides. It's a situation that's stretched the squad thin, and one that's forced Howe to experiment with younger players like Alex Murphy and Emil Krafth. The lack of options has exposed the need for reinforcements, but Howe refuses to panic. His philosophy has always been about evolution rather than revolution, and that mindset hasn't changed. Howe told reporters that he doesn't anticipate major spending in January, but he did suggest there could be small outlays if the right opportunities arise. Those words might sound cautious, but to longtime fans, they speak volumes. Under Howe, Newcastle have been incredibly strategic in the market. They don't buy players just to fill shirts. They buy players who fit a very specific profile. Last summer saw big money signings like Nick Woltemade, Yoane Wissa, and Anthony Elanga, all young, energetic, and hungry to prove themselves. Now, with PSR restrictions in mind, the club must tread carefully before making any new commitments. Behind the scenes, the message from the boardroom has been consistent. Newcastle are determined to build sustainably. The Public Investment Fund provides financial muscle, but the management refuses to jeopardize long-term stability by overspending. Howe fully supports that approach, even though it sometimes limits what he can do. Every window is an opportunity, he said, but not every window demands major change. His focus is on maintaining balance and ensuring that every addition improves the collective quality rather than creating imbalance. It's a pragmatic way to grow, and it's working. What's particularly interesting is how satisfied Howe seems with his current squad. He believes that the foundation is strong and that only a few small tweaks are needed to keep progress steady. Youngsters like Lewis Miley and Joe Ramsey have impressed in Cup and Champions League matches, showing that the club's investment in youth development is beginning to pay off. Their emergence gives Hao options and allows him to rotate players without sacrificing intensity. For a team aiming to compete on multiple fronts, that kind of flexibility could be the difference between success and exhaustion. Still, supporters are understandably impatient. They see injuries piling up and worry that the squad may not cope with the physical demands of another long season. Hao has addressed those concerns with characteristic calmness, reminding everyone that consistency and squad harmony matter just as much as signings. Sometimes it's not about adding new players, he said, but getting the best out of the ones you already have. Those words underline his coaching philosophy: improve from within first, then look outside if necessary. It's a refreshing attitude in a league often obsessed with constant spending. Nevertheless, some positions clearly need reinforcement. The goalkeeping department, for instance, has been a topic of debate. While Nick Pope remains first choice, many fans have called for stronger competition. There's also talk of adding another centre-back to ease the load on Fabian Schär and Dan Burn, both now in their 30s. Hao recognizes that the team's success depends on depth, not just in defense, but across the entire pitch. With Newcastle still competing in Europe, domestic cups, and the league, the need for a balanced squad has never been greater. One of Hao's biggest strengths is his ability to manage expectations. By saying that only small investments are likely, he keeps pressure low while still leaving the door open for smart deals. It wouldn't be surprising if Newcastle targeted a loan move or a young, versatile player who can fill multiple roles. The recruitment team has a strong track record of finding undervalued talent, players who arrive with something to prove. Those are exactly the kinds of signings that tend to thrive under Hao's guidance, just as Dan Burn and Sean Longstaff have done in recent seasons. The January window is often tricky, and Hao knows it. Prices inflate, competition intensifies, and finding the right player becomes even harder. That's why Newcastle's preparation is already in full swing. Every potential signing is being assessed not just for ability but for attitude and work ethic. Hao's rule is simple: if you don't fit the culture, you don't fit the club. He's determined to protect the unity that's been built over the past 2 years, a unity that helped Newcastle return to Europe and compete with the best. Any new player must add to that, not disrupt it. In the end, January might not bring dramatic arrivals, but it will still be a vital moment for the club. Hao's calm leadership and clear communication continue to earn respect from players and fans alike. He's building something sustainable, something that goes beyond quick fixes. Whether or not big names arrive, the Magpies' direction is clear: steady growth, smart recruitment, and total commitment to the badge. For Eddie Howe, it's never been about short-term noise. It's about building a team that can fight for trophies year after year, brick by brick, the Newcastle way. Sandro Tonali has been winning hearts all over Tyneside this season, and Eddie Howe's latest comments about him show just how important the Italian midfielder has become to Newcastle United. After the thrilling 2-1 victory over Fulham at St James Park, Howe praised Tonali not just for his quality on the pitch but for his extraordinary work ethic off it. The manager revealed that Tonali is often one of the last players to leave the training ground, a habit that reflects his deep hunger for improvement. For Howe, that kind of dedication represents everything he wants Newcastle United to stand for. The match itself was a dramatic one, decided by a late strike from Bruno Guimaraes after a second-half equalizer from Sosa Lukic. Yet, despite the goals, Howe's post-match focus turned to Tonali's influence. Since returning from his long suspension last year, the 25-year-old has been nothing short of exceptional. His ability to control games, dictate tempo, and keep the team organized in midfield has been crucial to Newcastle's improvement both domestically and in Europe. His intelligence and maturity bring calmness to a side that sometimes used to lose composure under pressure. Eddie Howe, speaking to Discovery, described Tonali as brilliant, receptive, and open-minded. He added that Tonali is the type of player who actively seeks criticism because he wants to understand how to get better every single day. That attitude has impressed the entire coaching team. Howe, who places enormous emphasis on player mentality, sees Tonali as a model professional, a player who listens, learns, and leads by example. When your star midfielder finishes extra drills long after others have left, it sends a powerful message to everyone else at the club. Tonali's journey at Newcastle hasn't been an easy one. Arriving from AC Milan for £55 million, he was expected to deliver immediately. But his early days were marked by adjustment. A new country, a new league, and an unexpected ban from football that kept him out for 10 months. Many doubted whether he could recover his rhythm, but Tonali responded the only way he knows how, with hard work and focus. Since returning, he's looked fitter, sharper, and more determined than ever. It's no wonder how now calls him one of the key pillars of his midfield. His partnership with Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton has been instrumental in Newcastle's recent success. While Bruno often grabs the headlines with goals and assists, it's Tonali who keeps the engine running smoothly. His ability to read danger, intercept passes, and recycle possession allows others to play with freedom. He's not flashy, but he's consistently effective. In matches against top opposition, Tonali's composure stands out. He dictates tempo like a seasoned conductor, ensuring Newcastle remain in control even during the most intense moments of pressure. Nick Woltemade, one of Newcastle's summer signings, recently described Tonali as incredible, both as a teammate and as a person. That sentiment echoes throughout the squad. Tonali's quiet leadership, coupled with his relentless training ethic, has earned him deep respect. Howe often says that talent alone isn't enough. You need the right character to succeed at Newcastle. Tonali embodies that philosophy. He's young but already acts like a senior pro. Even the older players, including Kieran Trippier and Dan Burn, often comment on his discipline and focus. At just 25, Tonali's experience is impressive. Before joining Newcastle, he had already played in 18 Champions League matches for AC Milan and represented Italy a dozen times at international level. Those experiences shaped his tactical understanding and his sense of responsibility. In the Premier League, he's adapted quickly to the physical demands and relentless pace of English football. Howe has fine-tuned his role, giving him freedom to move forward while trusting his instincts defensively. The result is a complete midfielder who influences every phase of play. Fans have noticed the difference too. Since Tonali's return, Newcastle's midfield looks more balanced and confident. There's a sense of control that wasn't always present before. When the team struggles, Tonali rarely hides. He steps up, demanding the ball and keeping possession ticking. His calmness spreads to teammates, reducing the panic that sometimes crept in during tight games. It's a quality that can't be taught easily. It comes from experience and character. Supporters recognize that, and his name is now regularly sung around St. James Park. Eddie Howe knows that having players like Tonali sets the standard for the rest of the group. When others see a star player putting in extra hours on the training pitch, it raises the collective level. It's the same culture Howe has been building since day one: humility, effort, and constant self-improvement. Tonali fits that mold perfectly. For Howe, success isn't just about winning matches. It's about building a team with shared values and work ethic. In Tonali, he's found the embodiment of those principles, both on and off the field. Looking ahead, Tonali's influence will be crucial as Newcastle push for success in all competitions. His mix of leadership, discipline, and technical excellence provides the backbone for everything Howe wants to achieve. If Newcastle are to establish themselves permanently among England's elite, they need more players with Tonali's mindset: ambitious, grounded, and driven by constant improvement. As Howe said, he's a joy to coach. With Tonali setting the standard, Newcastle's future in midfield looks not just secure, but genuinely exciting. Hayden Hackney is fast becoming one of the most sought-after young midfielders in English football, and Newcastle United are right in the mix to sign him. The 23-year-old has been a standout performer for Middlesbrough in the EFL Championship, impressing scouts with his energy, control, and intelligence in possession. Several Premier League sides have been monitoring him closely, including Manchester United, Fulham, and Crystal Palace. But it's Newcastle who appear most serious, seeing Hackney as a player who could add both creativity and youthful drive to their midfield. Hackney's rise has been nothing short of remarkable. A product of Middlesbrough's academy, he has grown into a complete central midfielder capable of dictating play and covering ground tirelessly. His passing range, vision, and ability to switch play have drawn comparisons to some of England's finest playmakers. Newcastle's recruitment team believe he fits perfectly into Eddie Howe's philosophy: hard-working, intelligent, and technically gifted. The club's long-term aim is to lower the average age of the squad without compromising quality, and Hackney seems an ideal choice to support that plan. For Newcastle, the interest in Hackney isn't just about adding depth. It's about continuing the evolution of their midfield. Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali bring world-class quality, but the squad still lacks a young English midfielder who can blend physical presence with tactical awareness. Hackney could provide that balance. His performances in the Championship have shown maturity beyond his years, and with the right guidance, he could develop into a Premier League mainstay. For Howe, he represents both potential and practicality, a player ready to contribute now, but with space to grow. Manchester United's presence in the race adds real competition. The Red Devils are also looking to refresh their midfield options after several inconsistent seasons. Their financial resources and global appeal make them formidable rivals. However, insiders believe Hackney might prefer a club where he'll play regularly rather than become another name in a crowded squad. Newcastle's track record of giving opportunities to younger talents, from Lewis Miley to Elliot Anderson, could weigh heavily in their favor. The Magpies offer a clear pathway to development, something that Hackney and his representatives will value highly. Fulham and Crystal Palace are also keeping tabs on the situation. Both clubs have recently shown ambition in the transfer market, seeking dynamic midfielders who can control games and transition quickly from defense to attack. Palace, under a progressive manager, have enjoyed European success and lifted the FA Cup, proving their competitiveness. Fulham, meanwhile, continue to rebuild with a smart, sustainable approach. Yet, despite those attractions, Newcastle's status as a Champions League club gives them the upper hand. Playing at St James Park, in front of 50,000 passionate supporters, is a pull few can resist. Hackney's statistics this season underline why so many clubs are circling. He averages high passing accuracy, makes crucial recoveries, and contributes to both ends of the pitch. His versatility allows him to operate as a deep-lying playmaker or in a box-to-box role. For Howe, that kind of adaptability is gold. Newcastle's system demands midfielders who can press, pass, and protect, and Hackney ticks every box. His technical skill combined with strong discipline make him a natural fit for the intense, possession-based football that Howe has built his reputation on. Financially, Hackney represents excellent value. Middlesbrough are realistic about his growing reputation and would likely accept a fair offer from a top-flight side. For Newcastle, the fee would be modest compared to other targets, making the deal attractive within PSR limits. More importantly, it would send a message about the club's continued commitment to recruiting young, hungry British talent. While big names grab headlines, it's smart acquisitions like this that often shape successful teams in the long run. Howe's record of improving players makes this an enticing opportunity for both sides. Behind closed doors, Newcastle scouts have reportedly been impressed not just with Hackney's ability, but also with his temperament. Those who've worked with him describe a grounded, focused young man who trains with quiet determination. That attitude mirrors the environment Howe has built at Newcastle. No egos, no shortcuts, just hard work and ambition. Hackney's discipline could make his transition to top-flight football smoother than most. For a club balancing European fixtures and domestic battles, adding a steady, reliable presence in midfield could prove vital. Of course, competition for young English players is fierce, and time will be key. If Newcastle want Hackney, they'll need to move quickly before rivals act. Manchester United can outspend them, and Palace can offer guaranteed minutes, but Newcastle offer the best of both worlds: top-level football and a genuine role in a growing project. Howe's approach to player development is well known. He gives trust to those who earn it. For Hackney, joining a club where effort is rewarded and progress is visible could be the ideal next step. Whether or not the move materializes in January remains to be seen, but the intention is clear. Newcastle are not standing still. They want energy, creativity, and long-term potential in midfield, and Hackney represents all three. He's at the right age, with the right attitude, and ready for the Premier League challenge. If the Magpies can fend off their rivals and complete the deal, it would be another clever move by a club building for sustained success. Hayden Hackney could soon be wearing black and white, leading a new generation at St. James Park. What a week of excitement for Newcastle United. For massive updates, each pointing towards a club that's thinking big and planning smart. From the potential signing of Pierre Kalulu to reinforce the defense, to Eddie Howe's thoughtful approach ahead of January, to Sandro Tonali's inspiring dedication, and now the pursuit of young Hayden Hackney, the Magpies are showing ambition in every direction. It's a brilliant time to be a Toon supporter, with fresh ideas and energy spreading through the club. But we want to hear from you. Should Newcastle go all out to sign Pierre Kalulu from Juventus? Yes or no? Do you agree with Eddie Howe's decision to focus on small but smart investments this January? Has Sandro Tonali already become the heart of our midfield in your eyes? And finally, do you think Hayden Hackney would be a clever long-term signing for the club? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one, and your voice drives the passion of this community. Newcastle fans, your loyalty is unmatched, and the future is shining brighter every day. Kalulu, Howe, Tonali, Hackney, 4 stories, 1 message. The Magpies are flying higher than ever. Keep believing, keep supporting, and keep the black and white spirit alive. Wait, before you go, check out this breaking video from Newcastle.